Okay, so your next project is your animated lower thirds, and I'm going to run you through the steps. You can watch this video as many times as you need to figure out the steps. Figure this will be easier for you guys. First step, file, new, and legacy title. Name it thirds 1. Click OK. And when we talk about thirds, we talk about the lower thirds of the screen, and we're creating designs that we place people's names on. So let's do a basic design. I'm going to go with my rectangle tool and animate them like so. And I'm going to change my color by changing the fill color. Make it a gray. And then I'm going to build another tool on top. Change that fill color. Use my selection tool, bring on top. Add a stroke. Change the stroke color. And there's my first design. You guys have to design 5. I'm only going to do one here to show you. That is to follow the same process over and over again. So keep in mind you have to have 5 of these designs. This is my first one. So I exit out. And because I had my video files selected, it's going to be inside of my video files. Here it is. Drag it to my timeline. And here it is on the timeline. So one step completed. I have my first third created. Now I have to animate that third. So the next step is animation. Okay, so animating your thirds. First step, you want to select your thirds on the timeline. This is my lower thirds. I selected it. And if we're going to animate the position, the first 2 animations, you must copy the same animations that I do. The last 3 animations, you must come up with your own animation. So here's your first one. You're going to take your position, drag them off screen. Okay, and then with your current time indicator in the front of your clip, remember this is directly connected to here, so one at the beginning of the clip, and we're going to mark that position off screen by hitting the toggle animator. Okay, so now my toggle animator is creating this keyframe here, saying at this particular point your text should be off screen. And you're going to bring your current time indicator to the spot where you want your clip to come back on screen, your third back on screen. And then you're simply going to scroll your x-axis back onto the position that you want it to be on screen. Now I have an animation that's coming from off screen onto the screen, and then it's going to stop on screen. Now I'm going to hold down my option key. Holding down option, I will drag a copy of the second keyframe. So hold down option and drag. And what I'm telling the software is that between this keyframe and this keyframe, I want my position to be the exact same. So my thirds will stay in that spot during those 2 keyframes. Alright, so now my animation comes on screen, stays here for a little bit, and now the last part of the animation we needed to go back off screen. So I'm going to put my current time indicator in the location where I want it to be off, and then I'm simply going to drag my position off screen. And now I have my completed first animation where my title will come onto the screen. It will stay for a little bit, and then it'll move itself back off screen. So that's your first animation. Okay, so now, thirds number 2. File, new, legacy title. And this one thirds 2. And let's keep this one simple just for the space of time. We're gonna do a triangle shape. and I will put my pen tool and place me a line here. Then I will have my add anchor point. Add a couple of anchor points on here. Use my converter tool and convert those points. Selection tool. Put that like so. Right. And get my pen tool again. Same concept. And here. And get my converter tool. And I'm going to convert this one like so. And this one like so. Okay. So I'm going to keep that one simple like so. Close them out. And again, because I have my video icon selected, it is saved inside my video. Make sure you pay attention to whether or not you have that selected. I should have had my titles icon selected when I was doing it, but I did not. So everything was stored inside of my video. So if you're looking around and you can't find it, you got to pay attention to what folder you had selected when you created your legacy title. Okay, so I'm going to go inside my video folder, and here is my thirds. Drag them to my timeline. And now I'm going to animate my second thirds. First step for animation, we select the clip. Make sure we have the effects control selected. Again, if your motion is closed, you want to open your motion up. And on this one, we're going to animate our opacity. So our opacity is down here. You want to make sure that you have that first, make sure that it's not blue. So uncheck it if it's already blue, just uncheck it. All right, and so now my opacity is grayed out. And so what we're going to go do, this one is we're going to start with our opacity at 0. We're going to bring it up to 100, have it stay at 100 for a little bit, and have it go back to 0. So essentially it's going to appear, stay, then disappear. All right, so first keyframe, we're going to put a current time indicator in the beginning of the clip. And we're going to go bring our opacity down to 0. And mark that with a keyframe. So we'll start the production with our opacity at 0. Then we're going to bring our current time indicator to the spot where we want our opacity to go to 100. Bring them up to 100. And then we're going to do the same trick we did last time. We're going to put our current time indicator, how long we want it to stay on screen. And then we're going to hold on Option, and drag. Remember, those of you guys who are on PC, it won't be Option for you, it'll be Alt. Alright, so keep that in mind. So hold on Option, drag. And now from this keyframe to this keyframe, it'll stay on screen. And I just need to have it fade out now. And I want it to fade out to around here. So I pick into that location, and I'll just bring my opacity back to 0. Now my animations come on, appear, stay for a little bit, and then fade back out. Alright? So again, come on, stay for a little bit, and then fade out. So those two animations, you guys must copy those two for your first two. The next 3 is up to you how you want to do the next 3. So keep in mind as you try to figure out what you want to do, that you can animate any function that has a toggle animator. So for example, I could have animated the scale along with this as well. So if I wanted to have it start at 0, on the scale, and then it's going to scale up to 100 when it gets here. And I'm going to do my same trick. Hold on Option or Alt in the PC case. Drag and copy. So you just stay at 100 for a while. And then I'm going to have it fade back down to 0. So let's drag this back to 0. End of story. Here's my animation. It is both getting smaller, larger and more opaque. And then it holds its opacity and then it fades back as it's fading away. So again, this is not part of your first one, your first two. This is just an example. On your first copy, all you're doing is the one that we saw before, which is the off screen coming back onto screen, and then this one where it fades in from the opacity and then fades out of the opacity. Those are your first two. Then you need to design 3 more thirds, and the thirds need to be animated as well with your own animations. Each animation needs to be different. Export. Once you're done with all your thirds, you're going to lay them out on the timeline right next to each other. All right, and you're going to export all 5 of yours. I have 2 here, but you'll have 5. And you will go File, Export, Media. You will change your format to HR264. Output name, your name in thirds. There is no audio, so I'm unchecking audio. And export. Once you're done exporting, I sent mine to my desktop. You should do the same. So I'm looking for Newton's thirds. There we are. Comes onto the screen. Stays for a while. Exits the screen. Fades in. And fades out.